We're the only hope of saving our entire race. There is no hope, Isaac. It is do or die. We're stuck without your help. Are you with me? Are you with me? Are you with me?
Hi folks, this is Jason, and today I will be reviewing Dead Space 3. Now, admittedly, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with the suspense and horror genre. A large part of it is because I have a great imagination, which has usually served me well in school, and even my chosen profession, which is writing. However, that same great imagination likely traumatized me growing up, thanks to my aunts and uncles being huge fans of scary movies, which I ended up watching a ton of while hanging out with them. It's even worse with video games because, at least with movies, I can close my eyes, cover my ears, something that isn't exactly an option with video games unless I want to get myself killed. Which actually still happens, especially when I freak out. It's bad enough that I'm not exactly an elite player when it comes to shooters, but once I throw panic, especially blind panic, into the mix, my accuracy just plummets like, I don't know, Mel Gibson's acting career. And the fact that I force myself to play scary games with the lights off and the surround sound on out of a misguided sense of professionalism, and I'm usually a nervous wreck when I play these games. Which brings us to Dead Space 3. The third entry in the story of engineer Isaac Clarke, Dead Space 3 tries to build on the suspense horror aesthetics of the previous games by ratcheting up the action and adding a two-player co-op element. Now, do these changes help or hurt the franchise? Well, let's take a closer look. Now, unlike the intense opening straitjacket sequence of the previous game, Dead Space 3 starts with considerably less tension and quite a bit more light. You start off in a snowy planet as a grunt in search of an important clue related to the markers. It doesn't take long though until you run into those pesky necromorphs and you have to go out on a limb in order to deal with them. Yes, that was a pretty bad pun, and no, I won't be quitting my page. Eventually though, things switch to our hero Isaac, who gets tracked down by Sergeant John Carver and his superior officer, Major Douchebag. Well, actually, it's Captain Robert Norton, but hey, I'm 101% positive that Isaac as well thinks that this guy is a major tool. Case in point.
What? Get out of there! Shut your trap!
Son of a... Oh, it's gonna get worse, Isaac. More than you'll ever know. So you start out by being ambushed by unitologists, who are decidedly less scary than necromorphs. Yep, Bladder's a-okay so far. Not only are these guys more predictable and easier to deal with than Dead Space's normal cast of monsters, you can even headshot them too. Adios, muchachos. You then board the Douchebag Express, also known as the USM Eudora, to space in order to rescue your one true love, Ellie. Ah yes, wonderful, loyal Ellie. What light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Ellie is the sun. You know, it's just great how Isaac is someone like Ellie, who's always going to be there for him, and uh-oh, what just happened here? I'm still here, guys. Ouch. One thing I noticed with Dead Space 3 is that it plays up the action even more than Dead Space 2 does. It still has its share of scary moments, but I didn't quite get the same constant feeling of dread or tension from the previous game, which can be good or bad depending on your preferences. Even Dead Space 2, which some say isn't quite as scary as the first one, was something I could only play about 30 minutes to an hour per sitting, because the tension and constant expectation that something bad was lurking around or about to happen would just wear me out. In short, they were pretty scary. In contrast, I played all the way to Chapter 5 in my first sitting with Dead Space 3 before I stopped. And the only reason I did was because it was late and I had to go to sleep. Gotta get that beauty rest. Of course, the fact that I played that long is a good sign too. I mean, as a shooter, Dead Space 3 actually controls really well. The weapons have a nice feel to them, and the control scheme overall feels quite natural. There's also a lot to do in Dead Space 3. The need for resources encourages exploration, so you'll definitely want to search every nook and cranny for precious items. In addition to finding logs and artifacts that can be used for various unlockables, having a watchful eye can help you find things that you might miss if you happen to be rushing around. Like this thing, for example. PETA is probably not going to be happy about that. By the way, I also noticed while saving my game, before taking a break for lunch at some point, that items actually respawn. Not sure at first if that was a glitch, so I looked it up, but apparently this is supposed to be a normal part of the game. So I guess that's that. Now, crafting is actually one of the best parts of this game, and it really improves the exploration and replay value for Dead Space 3. You can craft all sorts of stuff, like items, for example, but making and customizing weapons is where the crafting system really shines. There are just so many neat combinations, whether it be something basic like having a rifle and shotgun combined into one weapon, or even adding a stasis effect to, say, a magnesium torch. You also have exclusive weapons you can get via promos, such as 3 Slim Jim weapons that you can snap into. Ooh yeah! That sounded more like the Kool-Aid Man than Randy Macho Man Savage. Anyway, the Slim Jim weapons comprise of the Broadbow arc cutter, which is like a souped up plasma cutter, the EL1 Rapido, or L1 Rapido, which is a quick firing rifle, and the Skewer, which is basically a javelin gun. If you happen to have a Mass Effect 3 save, then you also get a certain suit for free once you find your first suit kiosk toward the end of Chapter 4. Yeah, check that out. I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite suit from the Citadel. The game also features side quests that allow you to do additional exploration on the side. I guess that's why they're called side quests. Further adding to all the stuff that you can do in the game. Of course, the biggest addition to the game is a co-op mode, which allows Isaac to form what Lady Gaga would call a bad bromance with Sergeant Carver. Now, in co-op mode, monsters actually get stronger, and the game adds some puzzle elements that require teamwork, like protecting your partner from enemies while he's trying to solve a puzzle, for example. Which apparently I'm doing a horrible job at in this clip. Man, I gotta apologize about that. It also provides access to new missions and areas, as well as an additional storyline, for Carver, of course. Now, overall, I think that Dead Space 3 is a very solid shooter. It's also a very polarizing shooter, largely due to the addition of more action and co-op, which I guess some purists feel takes away from the tension and horror that pervaded the series before. Now personally, I didn't think this was as scary as its predecessors, though it still does a better job of melding action with horror than, say, Resident Evil 6. I also actually like co-op shooters, so having that option, in addition to being able to solo the game, is something I'm actually okay with. Now, some of the missions have a bit of a fetch quest vibe to them, and you have to do a lot of going back and forth and backtracking, which might be an issue for some folks. At the same time, though, there's a lot to do and explore, and the game also serves up a New Game Plus, as well as higher difficulties, so replay value is quite good. Of course, if your taste in Dead Space 3 leans more toward the survival horror element, then just keep in mind that those elements, while still present, aren't quite as pervasive in Dead Space 3. If, on the other hand, you like shooters in general and want a game that has a solid campaign and co-op mode with survival horror elements added to the plate, as well as a healthy dose of loot and weapon crafting, then this game is going to be for you. This is Jason once again, and thank you for watching my video review for Dead Space 3.